Josh Bell joining us for another exciting weekend in studio, letting us know all about cool movie events happening in the city this week. Josh, good evening to you.
Good evening. Good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Okay, we're kicking off with, and I hope my dad is watching right now because he spent 20 minutes on the phone last week telling me about how much I need to see this documentary called Maiden.
You should see it,
It's all about these incredible women who sailed on a yacht around the world.
Yeah, it's the first all-women crew that sailed on a yacht around the world. It was in 1989 in this around-the-world race that still exists, actually. I think the name of it has changed, but it's one of the top, if not the top, yacht races. And it's a fascinating documentary about this woman who put this crew together and was determined to make this happen despite all of the odds and all of the doubters and everything like that. And it has tons of great footage that they actually shot during this trip that they took, and a lot of great interviews. And it's just a fascinating, if you like the ESPN like 30 for 30 type documentaries, it's really interesting. And I'm not a sports fan. I'm not a sailor, certainly, shockingly. But I was really drawn in by this movie, so it's really good. It's at the Regal Village Square this week, maybe not beyond this week. So if you want to see it, go take your chance to see it this week.
Well, that's why I love the 30 for 30 specials in particular, because they're always stories about how sports transcend sports.
Right.
So this is really about so much more than just yachting or sailing.
Of course, yeah, it is. But I mean, they do get into the details. If you are interested in sailing and the kind of nuts and bolts of it, they get into a lot of that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And speaking of documentaries, the next one we're talking about is called The Amazing Johnathan. It premiered at Sundance, and it actually has ties right here to Las Vegas.
Yeah, The Amazing Johnathan documentary is actually the title of it. It is about the amazing Johnathan, the comedy magician who performed in Vegas for decades and still lives here. This movie actually played at the Las Vegas Film Festival as well, and it's about all of his health struggles that he went through and continues to go through, and his return to performing. And it's also got this kind of meta aspect about documentary itself and the filmmaker who feels like he's being maybe bamboozled a little by Johnathan and what's going on there. So it's a bit of an investigative thing, but just in general, to see this guy and his amazing career and what he's going through now. You can watch it on Hulu if you have a subscription to Hulu. It's available right now. And it's an interesting, if flawed, film, but I think Johnathan himself is a fascinating subject, and it's worth watching for that.
And inspiring that he's pushing through, continuing to work despite all the health
That
challenges.
is inspiring. The movie is less about the inspiring aspect and more about the kind of suspicious aspect, but there is that as well. It's not as inspiring as Maiden.
Well, good to know going into it.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the Las Vegas ballpark, kicking off the flicks on the field. They had their first one with Top Gun a couple weeks ago, and now they're having the Sandlot, which is pretty much perfect for a flick on the field.
Exactly. It's a baseball movie, or a backyard baseball movie, I guess. And this is a classic from, I think, people around my age, maybe a little younger, from their childhood. It's a movie I still haven't seen. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and I still haven't seen it since then. But maybe this is the place to see it, on the field at the Las Vegas ballpark on August 22nd at 7 p.m. And it's only $2. Go to the ballpark, get a hot dog, watch a movie.
You cannot beat that for $2.
It's a great deal, and I can't think of a better place to see it, like you said, Jackie.
Exactly.
Right, it's perfect.
All right, I love this next one. AMC presents DreamWorks Animation Week with favorite DreamWorks animated films like Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, Trolls, The Croods. I mean, DreamWorks has just been pumping out these incredible movies.
Yeah, they've got a history, maybe not quite as strong as Pixar, but a lot of family favorites, and they've got a new movie coming out in September, and so kind of leading up to that, the AMC Town Square is showing, like you said, Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, which is a huge family favorite, the original Madagascar, and all the first ones in the series, not the later, not as good sequels. And it's only $5 for each of these. If parents want to take their kids, introduce them to Shrek, the 23rd through the 27th at the AMC Town Square.
Really quick, Ross and I were talking about how much we love Shrek. Really quick opinion, did you like it?
I liked Shrek when I first saw Shrek. I think the problem with Shrek is that it's become this pop culture thing that's kind of overshadowed the fun of the first movie, and the later sequels were not so good.
Okay.
So maybe visit it with fresh eyes, and it's probably pretty fun.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, moving on, final movie event of the week, a Japanese animated classic from 1988, My Friend Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro.
There it is.
It's a Studio Ghibli film, and this Studio Ghibli Fest has been going on kind of around through the year at various theaters, showing these Hayao Miyazaki classics, and you can see the cat bus there. That's a kind of iconic image, and you can catch that at local theaters on the 25th 26th and 28th, and it's friendly for the whole family.
Perfect. Josh, thank you so much for coming in, as always.
Thanks for having me.
All right, one last check of weather coming up after the break. Stay with us.